Hello everyone, and welcome to today's presentation, Everyday Technology for Everyday Challenges, Free or Low-Cost Tech Solutions to Help Grow Your Business. Before we get started today, we would like to mention just a few items. Throughout today's presentation, feel free to submit any comments or questions via the question tab within your GoToWebinar control panel by submitting to staff. Questions pertaining to the presentation will be addressed by our featured panelists in the order they are received or towards the end of the presentation. Also, at the end of today's webinar, a short survey will automatically appear on your screen. Your participation is greatly appreciated. Any opinions presented in this webinar are those of the instructors and do not represent the official position of the firms the individual instructors represent or the American Society of Appraisers. At this time, I'd like to now welcome our featured panelist, Mr. Aaron Lively. Aaron started his career as a cost accountant. He has held roles as GM of a mortgage company and finance accounting staffing consultant and holds a master's degree in business and finance education. He serves as the division sales manager with SageWorks Valuation Solutions, where he uses his experience to ensure both SageWorks and their clients' success. Aaron is an active volunteer in the community and loves to spend time with his wife and children. Thank you, Aaron, for joining us today, and I'd like to now turn the floor over to you.
Cynthia, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Welcome everybody today. We're going to go ahead and get started here. Just to give everybody an idea of what you're about to see, I do work with SageWorks and I work in our valuation department. However, the purpose of this webinar today is not to give you a product walkthrough. What we're more looking to is to provide some thought leadership on some of the technology solutions that we use on a daily basis, and then also some other technology solutions that we think would be beneficial for some of you. So hopefully it's beneficial for everybody involved, and it'll be a good webinar. What we're going to start off by doing is we are going to talk a little bit about SageWorks Valuation and our company as a whole, just to give you some background on who we are. A few things about SageWorks. We've been serving firms in the finance industry since 1998, and we've built the largest real-time database of private company financial statement information in the United States. That's been created through a data sharing model. We work with CPA firms all over the country, large and small, to provide industry benchmarking data that is broken down into simple forms that are easy to understand for businesses. In 2014, we were awarded Practice Advisors Reader's Choice Award, and in 2015, Accounting Today recognizes our valuation platform as one of the top new products on the market for CPAs. Just to give you an agenda of the things that we're going to talk about and the things that we're going to provide some solutions for you on. The first thing is going to be relationship management. We obviously work in this area a lot, and I talk to CPAs all the time, and that's something that I feel like they struggle with, is how are they leveraging technology to build relationships, win new clients, and a lot of those things are tough in the CPA world. So we're going to hit on a lot of the things that we do from maybe a sales standpoint that could help in your firms as well. The second section is going to be about thought leadership, and we have a lot of things that we do to kind of position ourselves in the market and give people a lot of good information, and we'll kind of walk through some of those things and how you can maybe implement some of those things into what you're doing currently. And then the last part of this is going to be about efficiencies. How do you build efficiencies in your practice? There's a lot of things that you already have in place, maybe some things that are dated, maybe some things that could be helped by technology, and so hopefully we'll provide you with some good solutions there as well. So to break down the relationship management, we try to put this into three distinct parts. So it's client relationships, growth through market expansion, which technology is great for kind of building your client base into a larger market than you would otherwise be able to, and then cost reduction. If you have clients all over the country, you don't want to have to travel to all 50 states and go see them in person. That would be very costly. So there's a lot of solutions to kind of getting around having to do that. And so with that being said, we're going to start off with our first poll question, and then we'll get into more solutions.
Great, thanks, Aaron. Let's go ahead and turn our attention to the first polling question on your screen. Would you say that your firm is adequately leveraging technology to build relationships internally and externally? Please select one of the options on your screen. We'll give everyone just a few moments to respond before we share the results and close the poll. It does look like we have majority at this time responded, almost everyone. Just a few more seconds. We'll give everyone. All right, I'm going to close the poll and share the results. It looks like we had 24% say yes, 44% say no, and 33% unsure. Thank you for your participation.
Okay, so that being said, if you're unsure, I would say the answer is probably no to that question. So you're looking at somewhere over 70% of you do not feel that your firm is adequately leveraging technology to build relationships. So hopefully we'll be able to give you some pointers and some things that would help you to do that. So the first thing that we're going to talk about here is how you can save time through digital meetings. Not only save time, but how can you be more client-facing with people who maybe aren't accessible to you on an everyday basis. And so we have a couple of different things here. The first thing being Skype. Skype has traditionally been known as kind of a social platform. But more and more people are using Skype and other applications like it to conduct business. And the reason for that, there's a very free option on both computers and mobile devices. And it allows you to have face-to-face meetings with clients and team members anywhere. So if you have 10 different offices across the country and you need to have a face-to-face meeting with other folks or other clients, it's very easy to do that. They do also have a business solution that's included with that, and we're going to look at that real quick just so you get an idea of what that looks like. And so what you're looking at here is that you can go with the free Skype option, but then there's also a Skype for Business option. It's pretty inexpensive, and it allows you to have a lot bigger meetings. You can do large webinars like what we're doing now, only more face-to-face. You can find anybody in your company and schedule meetings in Outlook. So you can actually use it to manage whole company meetings, invite people to it. And then you also have a lot more security options when you do the business for Skype. And so, that's something that, would be very useful if you guys are conducting business outside of maybe just your local area, or if you want to expand into other areas. Right? The other thing that's on this slide is Join.me. Join.me is an application that we used to use a lot within our office. We've actually migrated to using WebEx now, but that's something that we pay to do. Join.me is actually a free resource. I think that they have a business subscription as well, but we always use the free option, and it works very well for us. The nice thing about that is that you can schedule live meetings right then. You can allow people to share your screen. You can switch back and forth between their screen and yours. So in the CPA world, if you're dealing with a client or you're talking with a client and maybe they don't understand how something's working, it's a very easy way to flip to their screen or flip to your screen and be able to show them in the moment what you're talking about. And this just allows you to be more connected to your clients and a very easy way to do it. The next section here we're talking about is file transfers. And so the sharing of information has become big business, and there's a lot of options out there on the cloud. Box has a really great application. It's a cloud-based online file storage. You can open it from anywhere. You can open it on mobile devices. You can open it up on your computer, your laptop, wherever you are. And the great thing about it is that you can share specific folders with clients. So you don't just have to share one file. You can share an entire file, with them all at one time. It's a very secure interface, and it's very simple for sharing and managing your files. We are going to look at a quick video real quick. And this is just giving you a little bit of a quick run through of what Box is. I think it's a pretty great tool, and
business today is different. More than ever before, we work in teams that are spread out across the globe. Unfortunately, our current means of sharing information are inadequate or overly complex. Email? Hard to keep track of all those versions and file sizes. SharePoint? Too complicated for even the simplest tasks. FTP? Too limited for any meaningful collaboration. Wouldn't it be great if there was a simpler way to collaborate that grows with your business? Introducing Box. With Box, collaboration is simple. Box consolidates your content online in a single, easy-to-organize location. You can securely create and share files and folders and continue to build upon them as a team. You can put your whole file system on Box and access everything securely from anywhere, on any device. Share a file with a simple link, or invite people to share a whole folder of files. You can add comments, share bookmarks, create simple documents, and easily manage document workflow with tasks. Upgrade to Box Business and you can view previous versions of a document, customize the Box interface, search the content of your document, and get activity reports and manage users through an admin console. Box. Sharing should be simple. Sign up for a free trial and see for yourself at www.box.com.
all right, so you can see apologize, technical difficulties. So Boxes, again, it's just a very well thought out program. It helps you to share a lot of files, and I think that a lot of firms and a lot of companies out there could benefit from the types of things that it offers. Some examples or ways that people can use technology to build client relationships. Some of the things that we've done in the past are we've done client roundtables where we've gotten our current base of clients together in a room or on a webinar and allowed them to speak with each other about how they use our software, collaborative effort on best practices, those types of things. And that wouldn't be possible without technology. We couldn't get all of those clients to come visit us in our office. And so, that's something that we've done. We've commented on and created LinkedIn groups where, a lot of people spend a lot of time on LinkedIn. And it's a great resource if you use it correctly. But we try to make sure that we're giving relevant information on LinkedIn, providing content for our clients that's relevant. And so that's a great place. Some ones that, I haven't used as much, but I think provide a lot of value. One is Google Hangouts. Google has a lot of great applications, and we're going to talk about a few more of them as we go. But Google Hangouts allows you to create groups or circles with people in specific markets, or if you have a certain client list that you want to have conversations with and you guys want to collaborate via like text message basically. You can do that through Google Hangouts and it's real time. And then the last one on here is Spreecast, which is something relatively new that I've found. Basically, what Spreecast allows you to do is do live videos that stream online, and you can interact with other people who are doing videos, and you can also interact with them during those Spreecasts via chat. And so you can have live conversations with people on video. People can see your video, and then they can chat about what you're looking at. ESPN uses it. There's a lot of different large organizations who will use it to put out content. And so in the CPA world, while it doesn't seem, like you're that commercial, I think that something like Spreecast could actually allow you to build a bigger market presence and position yourself as more of an expert on the topics that your clients might come to you for. So now we're going to get more into what we call thought leadership and how you can use technology to position your firm. We'll talk a little bit about how you can conduct webinars, much like what we're doing right now, and how you can create email campaigns and have more control over how you send out emails. And then we'll get into social media, your websites, and how you can position blogs to make yourself more of a content provider instead of somebody who's just reacting to other people's content. And that brings us to our next poll question.
Okay, I'd like to turn everyone's attention to our second polling question of the day. What roadblocks have you seen to adopting new technology solutions at your firm? Please select all that apply. We'll give everyone a few moments to respond. And just a reminder, if you happen to be on a mobile device via the GoToWebinar application, you don't have the polling feature capability, so you can just respond via your chat or your question tab. Just a few more moments before we close the poll and share the results. Okay, looks like I've got majority. I'm going to close the poll at this time and share the results. It looks like 22% chose company culture, 37% cost, 62% unfamiliar with potential solutions, and 58% too busy. The last 2% chose none. Thank you for your participation.
All right, so clearly unfamiliar with potential solutions. Hopefully we're helping with that today. Too busy, that's something that comes up in any business, right? It's like, how do I free up time to onboard things that are going to save me time? And so that's a very difficult thing to do. The problem is, if you never make time to implement things that are going to save you that time, you're never going to be able to do it. And so, I run into that every day with people who want to onboard our software, and they love it and they want to use it, but they don't have the time to onboard it, or they think that it's going to, uprooting their whole process, that's tough, and they want to figure out how they can do that quickly and efficiently. Obviously as a company, we've done things to mitigate that and make sure that that's a smooth process. But with that being said, it's the unknown, I think, that people are afraid of. It's not necessarily that it does take time or that you are too busy. It's that you have an unknown on how much time is this going to take to get done. So when we're looking at the market that we're trying to serve, and this is just worldwide basically, 7.2 million people in the world. And of those 7.2 million people, or billion people, 3 billion of them are active internet users. 2 billion of them are very active on social media accounts. 3.6 billion are unique mobile users. And that's an area where I think a lot of people fall short, is that we focus a lot of our attention on only social media because it's easy. We focus it on putting out like web advertisements because that's easy. But there's a lot of opportunity in the mobile community if you're looking at these numbers. All right, so what does that mean for marketing your firm or for things that you should be doing? 93% of business-to-business marketers are using content marketing. Content marketing means you're actually putting together new content and being a thought leader to your clients. And so it's getting away from putting out advertisements or just being a feature-based company. And then 66% of the most effective marketers have a documented content strategy, meaning have a plan. You can't just see something and just put it out there and slap your name on it and expect to get results. You have to have a documented plan for how that's going to work. And the last one here, 67% of the buying process business buyers go through is done by consuming content online. So you could have the greatest service and be the greatest tax preparer, the greatest valuator in the world, And if nobody knows that you can do that, then it doesn't matter. If 67% of people are consuming that online, that's a very important place to be. Right. So how do you get that information out there? One way to do it is through webinars. There are a ton of solutions for doing this. Two of the most popular that we've seen are GoToWebinar, which is by Citrix. That's something that we've used in the past. It's a great system. It allows you to schedule meetings in advance. You can reach your clients in any area across the country, again, and you can have multiple people on the same meeting. So if you're meeting with a company that has 10 different people within the company and you need to be speaking to all of them, this allows you to do that. And then the other one is WebEx. This is what we use currently. It's got add-ons that you can use through Gmail. It has an add-on that you can use through Outlook. It's a very nice solution. It helps you to schedule your meetings, and it's a very nice interface. It has a lot of different options, such as sharing your screen, flipping it over to other people's screen. You can use webcams. There's a lot of different audio options, and so those are two of, I would say, the better webinar solutions that you can use. We're on GoToWebinar right now. All right. And then the next thing, emails, I think more and more have become the way that people like to do business. And a big reason for that is the emergence of text messaging. There's a lot of people who would rather not be interrupted while they're doing work. So, not all the time is it the best strategy to call people on the telephone anymore. As much as I love talking to people on the phone, I realize that people are in the middle of doing work during the day, and maybe they want to respond to me at 10 o'clock at night. I had a client just yesterday who sent me an email at 11 o'clock at night because he needed me to upload something into the system for him. And that was fine because I had my phone. I saw the email. I responded to it at 11 o'clock, and it's a simple process. And so if he would have called me at 11 o'clock at night, that would have been frustrating to me. So, it's a lot easier to conduct business through email for a lot of people. MailChimp is actually a application that allows you to segment your markets and create mass email groups on a large scale. So if you're doing email campaigns and you don't want to send out emails to one person at a time, and you're not sure in your client base, who is the right person to send this email to, you can actually create groups in specific markets or specific targets that you want to go after for business, and then send those out as mass emails. It also allows you to track your emails. You can create templates for emails, and it just allows you to do a lot more email marketing, a lot quicker pace, a lot more streamlined, and it just makes it easier to do. And then the other thing that you see here is called Sidekick. Sidekick is actually a free option that helps you to track emails, and it'll show you who is opening your emails. So if you send somebody an email, you pretty much can know whether or not they opened it. Sometimes it'll just show the city of the person who opened it, but if you're doing business across states or anything like that, it's pretty easy to tell who was the person who opened it. In the future, they are putting together a package for where you can do email scheduling. So if you want to send out a scheduled email once a month, or if you wanted to put together like a once-a-week email, they are going to have that feature coming very soon. Right. And that brings us to social media, which I feel most businesses have some sort of presence in social media if they're trying to grow at all. 84% of business-to-business marketers use social media in some form. We have pictures here that show LinkedIn, Twitter, Google+. Those are some of the more well-known social media platforms. And so, I take a little bit different approach to social media when it comes to those sites. I post a lot of content on LinkedIn, and I've actually had people come back to me and say, hey, I was trying to get in contact with you. I saw something that you posted on LinkedIn. and I try to make it very relevant to my clients. The thing that's tough about that is how do you get that information without creating it yourself? And so I actually create a Twitter account. And my Twitter account, I don't ever post where I am or what I'm doing, but I do use it as a news feed. And so I follow on Twitter pretty much every person who has anything to do with my business. I follow different news sites. I follow thought leaders. And then when I see that they're posting an article that is very relevant to my client base, I read the article, make sure that it makes sense, and then I can post it to LinkedIn or I can repost it on Twitter. And so it allows you to pull up a lot of information very quickly and see a lot of good insight into the clients that I talk to. In the CPA world, I mean, it's the same thing. If you guys are dealing with construction companies or if you're dealing with manufacturers, know their business. And the more that you know their business and the more that you can provide relevant information to your clients, they're going to want to do business with you more. They're going to be more engaged. And it just is something that can help a lot. Right. So we're going to break down a little bit here on what it means to be a part of social media. We're going to talk about what it means to be active and passive, what you should do, what you should not do, and just kind of give you some guidelines on what social media looks like for you. So just a word of advice here. It says start with LinkedIn and then experiment with Twitter if you're publishing multiple times per week. We're going to talk about some technology solutions that are going to help you to do that in a couple of slides. But just to kind of give you a rundown of some things. If you're going to be active, try to post something each week. Maintain your LinkedIn profile. If things are dated, it's going to be confusing to your audience, and you need to make sure that you're conveying the message that you want to convey. Comment on other people's posts. Somebody's asking for help, or somebody's commenting on something that is relevant to you or your firm. Comment on it. I mean, it's only going to help you gain further insight. It's going to make you look like more of a thought leader, and it's going to help overall business. And then post to groups on LinkedIn. There's tons of groups that you can follow. I've learned a lot about our valuation business just by going on LinkedIn and reading through a lot of the groups that are dedicated to business valuations. And it helps me get a lot of insight when I talk to my clients and the things that make the things that are important to them. If you were going to be passive, you would have no profile or a very watered down profile, and then maybe a static or outdated profile with no updates. So if you want to have an online presence, have one. But I think the key here is you have to be actively engaged for it to help you. If you spend an hour on it, you'll get an hour return. And then some do's and do nots. Make sure on social media that you share firm successes. When we won the award or when we were recognized as a top product, I thought it was very relevant that we post that and let our clients see that we're doing things to have a good product. It's being recognized in the industry, and so as your firm is having those same types of successes, make sure that you're putting that out there to the masses. Share articles from other sources. We talked about that, and I'll have a nice link here for you in a few slides that's going to show you where you can go get some of that content information. And then grow your network by following and connecting with others. Obviously, the whole point of social media is to be social, and so if you're just sitting there and you're kind of just walking through and looking at other people's stuff, you're not really being social. You're being more passive, and so go connect with people and have conversations. Do not post only about you. Nobody wants to hear me all the time, so make sure that you're providing relevant content to who you're trying to connect with. Do not share content that could be offensive. Some things like political views, things that may turn off some of your client base. You don't want to put stuff out there that isn't relevant to what you're on the social media for. And then do not invite random people where there is no connection, particularly on LinkedIn. There's a degree of that in business where you're trying to connect with people, and I think that's okay. but don't just go on there and invite 800 people that have no relevance to what you're trying to do. So make sure that that's a targeted effort. All right, and here are a couple just resources, for best practices. Moz produced a beginner's guide to social media, and this is a place where it talks about sharing your firm's volunteer activities or other community engagement, how to leverage social networks to find new hires and publicize job openings. Inc. magazine has a place where it talks about the 9 best practices for promoting your business on social media. So it talks about reach for loyalty, not millions. You're never going to be overnight, millions of followers and all of a sudden everybody is, you're Warren Buffett all of a sudden. That's not going to happen. But what can happen is that you can create loyalty within your current client base and branch out from there to gain new clients. Leverage content you've already created and that your customers have produced. So it's always nice to kind of give credit to people that you're doing business with. So share their content. If you've already got content that's out there that's good, give that to people. Don't just hold on to it. And then the last thing here is just Mashable has the 14 best practices for long-term social media success. And it says, know the audience you're trying to reach and design a relevant plan, and then use metrics to monitor the performance of each account. So we'll talk a quick bit about Salesforce in a little bit and some of those kind of efficiency type softwares. But you always have to understand what motivates your client base, how you can leverage that, and what are the things that you do that connect with them. Maybe LinkedIn isn't the best place for you. Maybe your client base is on Google+. Maybe your client base is on Twitter. When I taught high school, I would talk to my high school students and talk to them about using Facebook, and they would all laugh at me because I was old. And they all use Twitter. And so if you weren't on Twitter, you weren't cool. And that's fine, but I had to know my audience. And so my audience when I was teaching high school was Twitter. In business, my audience is more on LinkedIn. So just know your audience. So I talked earlier about using Twitter to find content for LinkedIn posts and those types of things. And obviously I don't have time every single day to go on and post things onto LinkedIn. But what I do have time for is to take a day or take a couple hours throughout the week and find relevant articles that I can post to my clients. And one of the ways that I do that is through the use of Buffer. So Buffer is a simple posting site. The free account that you can get with them offers the ability to post 10 different articles or 10 different, 10 different whatever you want to post. It could be a quote, it could be an article, it can be whatever you want it to be. But you can schedule those throughout the week. So it gives you the option to schedule 2 things a day, 3 things a day, and it gives you a button in your actual browser where if you find an article that makes sense, all you have to do is click the button and it will tag it and then put it into your queue of items that will be uploaded into social media. The things that it will post to, I believe, are Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, and maybe one more, Facebook. And so you can actually use that to schedule those for the week or for the, however long you want to do it. Hootsuite is something that our marketing team uses that is a little bit more robust. What Hootsuite is designed to do is to manage Twitter accounts, and you can actually create Twitter account groups for specific purposes. So let's say that you're trying to figure out what the new AI CPA guidelines are, and you want to make sure that you're following that, or what the new ASA proposal is for putting guidelines in place for valuations, whatever that is. There are thought leaders within those organizations that you can follow where you're going to get some insight into that. And so you can create whole Twitter groups that are designed specifically for valuation professionals or CPA credentials or whatever that is. So you can create groups to follow or post out to and all of those things. So Hootsuite is more on a large strategic level, whereas Buffer is on more of a personal posting level. All right, so that brings us to websites and blogs. I obviously, through prospecting efforts, run into a lot of different websites. I see a lot of blog posts from CPAs and other credentialed professionals. And one thing that I have noticed is there is one guy who I think works at every single CPA firm. And so, what I see there is that a lot of people have the same website. And it's maybe different colors, maybe a couple different options, but for the most part, I see a lot of the same websites. And so you have to ask yourself, is my website doing its job? And so, maybe the job is just to put yourself out there and have, your presence there. And that's fine if that's what you're trying to do. Whenever I ran the mortgage company, I had a lot of, people come to me, and we had a website team come to us and say, your website is not driving any business to you. People can go on there and get your phone number, they can get your contact information, but unless they're using it for like an informational purpose, nobody's being driven to your business through your website. And so there's a lot of things that you can do to kind of position yourself in a better way that will bring clients to you. So is your contact information easy to find? I see a lot of websites where there is no contact information, which is baffling to me, and I understand that it's because you don't want a bunch of salespeople calling you. And so, I guess mission accomplished, I didn't call you. But the other problem with that is that you don't have a way for your clients to contact you. And so that's an issue. A website, what's the point if it's not to drive people to your business? Are your services easy to find, and are they accurate? We just had a call with somebody the other day who we gave a call to, and we said, hey, it looks like you're doing lots of business valuation work, and we'd like to talk to you about that. And the guy said, we don't do any valuation work. And our response to that was, well, you have a whole section for it on your website. And he was like, oh, we just haven't updated the website, and we have never done valuation work. I don't know how that got on there. And so, be sure that the services that you are offering to people are services that you can provide. You don't want to confuse the message to your client. And so a couple of things that we have that I've seen that will help with these, blogs or websites. With the blog specifically, here is a link, and you guys will get these slides, so I'm not going to go out to it, but this link here will take you to tons of content that is relevant to financial articles. It's got different sections that will break down, like, is this good for CPAs, is this financial advisors, and there's tons of articles that you can find there. And then here are some websites that can help you with your website. Sorry, here are some applications that can help you with your website. The first being WordPress. WordPress is actually a place where you can go for free and create your own website. It's very easy to use. It's very user-friendly. It has mobile-friendly designs, and it's a very professional-looking website. It was actually originally created to kind of be built around blogs, but now has converted into more of a website creation application. And so the other application that you're seeing here is called GoMobi. GoMobi is a way for you to take your website that maybe you already have or you've created somewhere else and convert it into a website that is accessible from anywhere. When we looked at the information earlier and we saw all the billions of people who are accessing things through mobile devices, if you have a website that's not accessible through that, you're missing a big part of your market. GoMobi can help you to get your website on a cell phone, on iPad, on all those different mobile devices, and make you much more accessible to your clients. Right. So that brings us to 70% of consumers prefer getting to know a company via articles. What that's saying is just through all the stuff we've just looked at, If you take nothing else away from this, people don't really like to be sold to. They don't like getting ads. They don't, people get TiVo because they don't want to watch commercials. So when you're looking at this, that's telling you that people want relevant content to them. They don't want you just kind of spitting random ads to them and trying to sell them on something. So, when you're using your strategy, think about those things to make sure that you're creating something that's relevant to your client base. And that brings us to our next poll question.
Okay, let's get the third polling question up on everyone's screen. If I can turn your attention at this time. Do employees at your firm ever work remotely or travel for work? Yes, no, or unsure. We'll give everyone just a few moments to respond. Okay, I've got majority. I'm going to close the poll and share the results at this time. Looks like a majority, 94% chose yes, and 6% chose no. Thank you for your participation.
Okay, great. So pretty leveled off results there. So we'll move on to the last part of this, which is building efficiencies in your practice. We'll probably kind of go through this a little bit quicker. What we're looking at here is how do you leverage technology to make what you're already doing better? You can use cloud-based solutions. You can use project management software. There's software out there to help streamline the things that you're already doing. And then there's ways to kind of quality control or get feedback from your clients. With the cloud-based solutions, we have a couple different things here that I want to look at. Box we've already looked at earlier with the video. SageWorks Valuation Solution, obviously, that's a big part of why we're here is to talk about that from a different standpoint. But we also, in our business, we use Google Apps a lot, and I'll talk about how we use that. And then an option that I saw recently is something called Bill Quick, which helps you to manage like quotes, payment schedules, and those types of things. So that brings us to our last poll question of the webinar, and let you do that.
Okay, we've got our last polling question up on your screen, everyone. Would you like to learn more about SageWorks Valuation Solution? Please go ahead and select your response. We'll give everyone a few moments. Great, thanks everyone. I'm going to go ahead and close the poll and share the results with our panelists. Looks like 25% chose yes, 32% chose no, and 42% chose maybe later. Thank you, everyone.
Great. So thank you for that, and we'll go ahead and kind of go through these last couple of sections here. Just with the project management, something that I use on a daily basis is Google Sheets. Google Sheets is basically spreadsheets that allow you to work collaboratively with your team. And I use it every single day to, whether it's managing incoming phone calls, it's managing the efficiencies of the day. I also manage product enhancements. There's a lot of different things that I use with Google Sheets. You see the Hangouts logo is included in there. There's Google Drive where you can put things on your Google Drive and people can access that. You can share access with other folks. And then the other part of this with project management is Salesforce. I would say Salesforce is probably not a low-cost option, which is what the whole webinar was about. But I felt like I would be very remiss not to include it here. The reason for that is if I were to ever start any type of business, I would start with Salesforce. And I don't have any interest in telling you that other than I think it's a great tool. You can use it for so much. You can use it to track current clients. You can use it to track prospective clients. You can keep histories on your current clients and where you've talked to people, what you've talked about. You can also create quotes for them in Salesforce. and then you can track firm interactions. So, you know, I think that's something I use every day, obviously, but I think that it's a great tool if you ever get to a point where you don't think that you can manage the client base that you're working with just on, you know, a PC. Then for streamlining processes, we have Build Quick, which again is a way for you to use software solutions that's going to help you manage quotes that go out to your clients. It's going to manage your accounts payable. It's going to manage your accounts receivable. And even though you're an accountant, sometimes it's easier to manage other people's finances than it is to manage your own. And that's something that was designed for accountants that can help you to do those things. And then obviously our SageWorks valuation solution. I do want to show a quick video. It's about 1.5 minutes about SageWorks, and then we'll kind of wrap up after that.
How to prepare for industry growth. Conducting a business valuation can be a time-consuming, resource-heavy, and often inefficient task. However, firms that offer Type 2 services, such as dispute litigation, estate and gift tax valuations, and exit planning, are recognizing a 60% higher profit margin than those offering general accounting services. With impending industry growth, a streamlined valuation process with an automated workflow can enable accounting firms to enter the market and take advantage of these opportunities. Let's talk about industry growth. Baby boomers are currently driving both the sale and purchase of businesses. Roughly 75% of privately held businesses are expected to be put up for sale during the next decade, and projections of industry value are estimated at $7.4 billion. How do you prepare for this growth? Consider a platform that helps both reduce risk and save time in performing compliant valuations. Oftentimes, there are 1 to 4 partners simultaneously working on evaluation. A cloud-based solution that allows staff across locations to collaborate on projects can promote better communication and increase accuracy, leaving few opportunities for error. Additionally, it can take 3 to 6 weeks to complete a business valuation. A more efficient workflow can save time and allow your firm to grow by taking on new engagements. SageWorks Valuation Solution is the only commercial-grade, web-based solution that standardizes the business valuation process without removing your ability to use your professional judgment and add value to the engagements. It drastically reduces the opportunity for mechanical error with document tracking and storage, while in compliance with AICPA SSVS1 guidelines. Learn how SageWorks Valuation Solutions can help your firm streamline the valuation process and prepare for industry growth. Request a walkthrough today.
So for those of you who did say that you wanted to learn more about it, we'll have some contact information at the end where you'll be able to reach out to us directly, or we'll reach out to you directly to get something set up. The last screen here is specifically talking about how you can have quality control within your firm. You know, there are a couple things that we use, such as like SurveyMonkey. This is a way for us to reach out to our clients and get feedback from them. Also prospective clients on the things that they would like to see in our products. We do that kind of stuff all the time to try to get an idea of our market and what would make sense for them. And then Screencast is a nice tool where you can actually record yourself doing things on your computer, and then you can post those things either as an email, you can publish it on a website, so it's a way for you to very easily kind of walk somebody through something digitally. And then for online customer service, there's also a link here. This has a link to all kinds of different solutions that you can use for actual customer service type activities with your clients. The key thing here is just always listen to what your clients have to say. I think that a lot of companies make the mistake of doing what they think makes sense instead of what their clients think makes sense. And I think if you can listen to your clients, you'll be a lot more successful. And with that, I want to thank everybody for your time here today. That is my contact information on the screen. And if you would like to know more about our products and what we do, please feel free to reach out to us at any time. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Aaron. We're going to go ahead and open the floor in case there's any last questions from the audience. You've got your question tab there that you can submit questions to, or any comments. I just have a couple reminders for everyone. If you can take a few moments to respond to the short online survey that should pop up immediately after we close today's webinar. Your feedback will help us improve our program, and your participation is greatly appreciated. One more reminder, the webinar is actually being recorded, and SageWorks will be distributing the recording and any associated handouts within 48 hours. So they'll get that over to all the attendees. We do ask for about 2 weeks for processing your certificate. We had a large crowd today, and I just want to thank Aaron for taking the time to share his knowledge, and thank you to our audience for attending. Any additional questions can also be sent to colintierney@sageworks.com. But we are going to just give we've got a few more moments, and I believe some questions have come in from the audience. So we'll go ahead and get those over to our speaker. Okay, looks like we've got 2 questions in queue. Did you want me to read those out to you, Aaron?
Sure, that would be great.
Yeah. What are the key differences between SageWorks Valuation and ValueSource Pro?
So the key things that are different between what we do and what they do is that we're cloud-based, so we have the ability to work across firm-wide, whereas with ValueSource, they're more based on a disk where you upload it onto a computer. And then also, we have the ability to do real-time updates to our software, which we do quite often. Through the summer months, we're doing them once a month. Whereas if you purchase a disk, you're kind of you have to adhere to just having that disk. And so, they have a great platform, though. I've seen, people who use that, and they're very successful with it. I think it's really a preference of, do you want something that's more we tried to make something that was very user-friendly and very takes you through the whole process and allows you to customize everything that you do in the software. So when you're getting to your reports and you're trying to run those, it's very flexible, and it allows you to 100% customize whatever you're doing in your reports. You can build out templates, and from what I've seen from the other software, it's a lot about the process, and we're a lot about being flexible for what you're trying to do. I hope that answers your question.
Great, thanks. We've got another one from George. What kind of information security issues do you think we should take into account?
So information security issues by using cloud software is, I'm assuming that that's what the question is in regards to. I would say that you should check out people's security document if that's a concern for you. We have about a 50-page security document that details all of our server integrity and what all of our, how we safeguard our information. Our company specifically works with a lot of banks. We have another product called ALLL, which is a product that banks use to mitigate the risk from bad loan debt. And so with that being said, we're monitored and our servers are monitored by the same people who monitor banks. And we've never had any kind of security breach, so it hasn't ever been an issue for us.
Okay, and our last question, it looks like any Mac version coming of SageWorks?
So currently there is not a Mac version. However, there is a way that you can use it through the valuation platform. If you have the actual Microsoft Office version through Mac, and then you run parallels, you are able to use our software through that. It's a little bit more cumbersome to get it all set up, but once you have it, it does work.
Okay, and with that, that is all the time we have for questions for today's presentation. So I just want to thank everyone for joining us, and we hope that you have the opportunity to attend another offering in the future. Thanks, everyone, and have a great day.